Meanwhile, U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken, as you've just heard, visited Egypt on his trip around the Middle East this past weekend. He met with President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi, who told the secretary Israel had gone beyond the right to self-defense with airstrikes on civilians. Blinken met the Egyptian president after visits to Israel, Jordan, the UAE, Bahrain, Qatar and Saudi Arabia. Sisi told Blinken the only way to end the conflict in Israel and Gaza would be a two-state solution.
The current crisis is a drastic one, and I believe that the ongoing retaliation goes beyond the right to self-defense for Israel and amounts to the collective punishment of the Gaza Strip, home to 2.3 million Palestinians.
Gazans have been under siege for the past week as Israel retaliates against Hamas's deadly attacks last weekend, which killed over 1,400 in Israel. Over 2,600 people have been killed in Gaza as well. The U.S. now warning violence could escalate further. Here's what the U.S. National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan told our Kirsten Welker on NBC's Meet the Press overnight.
First, I'm not going to get into our private conversations with the Israelis, but we are not interfering in their military planning or trying to give them instructions or requests specific to their military planning. What we are doing is saying privately what we've said publicly, which is that all military operations should be conducted consistent with law of war, that civilians should be protected, that civilians should have a real opportunity to get to safety, and that civilians, again, who have nothing to do with Hamas, because Hamas is a brutal, vicious, savage terrorist group. It does not represent or reflect the will of the Palestinian people, that civilians get access to food, water, medicine, and shelter, and we are working hard on that. It is a key priority for our president.
NBC is reporting that U.S. officials have been privately urging restraint to the Israeli government, and yet the State Department, a State Department email advised against officials using language like de-escalation and restoring calm. So which is it, Jake? Can you help clarify what is the message to the U.S. government to Israel?
The message to the U.S. government has actually been straightforward from the first time the president spoke to this issue. Israel has a right and indeed a duty to defend itself against vicious, savage, barbaric terrorism. Israel also, as a fellow democracy, has to respect the laws of war, and all civilians should be protected and should have access to the basic necessities. And that has been the U.S. position. That is what we will continue to discuss with our Israeli counterparts, with regional counterparts, and with the United Nations. And we will do all that we can to ensure the safety of civilians in Gaza.